a monthly workshop again.
Well, the
And-
only workshops are on economic development. The rest of them are public hearings for UVAP and general plan,
Well-
and then the fiscal ones, which I hadn't heard that you didn't want to do fiscal workshops.
Well, no, not the, it just seems like there's a lot of them, and
They occur before,
Basically, you've got two on economic development, one in March and one in September. And then the one in July would be a chance to update the board on all the county strategic planning. That, if you wanted to move that to a Tuesday, you could. As you know, when you move things onto a Tuesday, they sometimes don't get the time or the attention, so. And then the fire and EMS one, which we're not considering a workshop, we're considering that something that really needs.
Rose is, oh, sorry.
Okay.
other comments from the board? Okay, what's the wish of the board? What's the action? I want to take up one more item before we break for lunch, so I'd like to move on this.
Move on.
So that's a motion to adopt,
Sure.
as discussed.
I'd like clarification on what's been discussed, because we talked about, there were three things still hanging. We've got June, July, and what was the third? There was another. Yeah, the April 21st I don't see on our master calendar, so we need to integrate that.
December 15th.
I want to make sure if we switch the June date, I think that's fine if the executive office says they can handle it, but I think we still need that 2-week spread, regardless of when we do it. So as long as that's part of the calendaring, I don't.
What do you mean, 2-week spread?
Well, that we can't do it all in one, you talk about the presentation and then the following week, the adoption, so we still need 2 weeks.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, the presentation would be under the potential change, the 17th, and the adoption would be the 24th.
So that's one of the proposed, is that through the chair, is that what we're talking about here? What are we talking about for July, then? I don't think we dealt with that issue.
No,
What
we
you
did
could,
not.
yeah, what you could do for July is move the UVAP public hearing to the 21st, and you could have the strategic planning presentations moved to one of those Tuesdays if you wanted, or you could flip that to the 14th. I would move it to one of the Tuesdays, probably.
Well, my consideration to the chair is, what are we talking about on the 15th? If we're now, I thought we had done NACO pre-planning in this draft that we received, but if we're talking about two board members not being here, at least two board members for
At
the
least
15th, what are we talking about? I mean, what are we're now not meeting on the 1st and the 8th. I don't know. I think that maybe we need to revisit July or something, because I know what happens is if you have two board members gone, then it's this entire litany of things that don't get discussed in closed session, don't get to the regular agenda because we have two board members absent. So I think that we need to really get clarification on this about what we're really doing in the month of July, and be really clear and do it up front, not after the fact. So
It would appear to me that we need to bump the 15th on down the line and have a meeting on the 29th. That's a
I mean,
vacated.
not meet on the 15th?
And not meet on the 15th, because there might actually be three of us wanting to go to the NACO. So even with two missing, I think that's inappropriate type of discussion, to have a full day's worth of meetings without a full board. So just a simple solution would be to utilize the 29th to make up for it. And we wind up actually with a 3-week or 3-meeting break, but we still take care of business in the month of July. Supervisor Pinter.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to
I'm sorry.
rescind my motion, and I think it'll probably be best with these several changes. Allison's got the input from the board members to come back, because there's nothing that's going to change in January, February, so we can bring this back to the next meeting
Sure.
for a revision.
Or I could bring it back later this afternoon, if that would be
Yeah,
useful.
that'd work good.
Supervisor Domer.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't understand why we're so focused on narrowing it. Life happens, things change. This is a tentative calendar. We want everything engraved in stone for 12 months, and it doesn't happen that way. And as far as the board meetings go, life goes on when somebody misses a board meeting. I mean, this board has had, and previous boards have had board meetings with 3 members. Every county has board meetings with 3 members. We have this thing called a reconsideration. If a decision is made, the board member that was absent doesn't agree with, they can bring it back and talk about it. But we have to have faith in our colleagues to handle the business of the people and get it done. And if we feel so strongly about an item that's on the agenda, if it can't be changed, then we can be here for the meeting. But I don't like, we have to have faith in one another in this board to work, whether one of us is here or missing, or 2 of us are missing. And I just think we're getting very, for lack of a better term, anal on this, that life is going to happen. We can work with it, but tentatively adopt the calendar, recognizing that, things may change. So I make the motion, we tentatively adopt the calendar and let staff, continue to tweak it.
I second.
Let's get going here.
You've received some input, and...
Yeah, and I will make the changes and hand them out to you this afternoon so you can see them.
Okay,
Good.
all right. Any other discussion? Comments from the public in regards to our master meeting schedule or work plan? Okay, look forward to that revision and bring it back. Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, come back for a
Thank you.
revision. Want to take up the one last item before lunch?
If we could, the one last item for the Sheriff's Department.
Okay. Discussion, possible action, including approval of request, appropriate reserves for contingencies in the amount of $500,000 of the Sheriff's Budget Unit 2310, as provided during the final budget deliberations. Mr. CEO,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I saw the sheriff here a few minutes ago, and I'm sure he must have had another appointment, but he may show up and as I'm talking here. The sheriff and I met last week regarding this budget item, and have reached agreement that because of the support that your board has shown for public safety and your interest in having an accurate set of numbers, that we have agreed to postpone this item until the second quarter, or actually the second quarter report in February that Jennifer will be presenting to the board. So at this time, we just need to remove this item from the agenda, and we will talk as part of the quarterly report. We'll give the board an analysis of the $500,000 commitment to the Sheriff's Department. As a side note, we are meeting this week, the Sheriff's fiscal staff along with our fiscal staff in the CEO's office, and we're continuing to have discussions about the current state of salaries for both the Sheriff's budget and the jail budget.
okay, questions of the board on this item? Any problems with continuing this on?
Actually, it would not be a continuance, just remove it from the agenda,
Right.
and we'll discuss it at the quarterly report.
Okay. Does that take a motion to do that, Madam Counsel?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All those in favor of this recommended action, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, unanimous. Thank you, Mr. CEO. And quickly before lunch, one last item, public comment. Marshall Sayah. Marshall, please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
How about I do less than 3 minutes?
That'd be great.
Again, I'd like to compliment Howard Daschle. We just finished the walkthrough a week ago for the undergrounding that the Board of Supervisors voted in, which was an unprecedented amount of money to extend that undergrounding district. And just to give you an idea of what we're looking at, we get a